It's still impressive that I can face tank everything, dude. Yeah, I said I can face tank everything, right? That was degen floor. It doesn't count, man. Dude, easy clap. See? That's a good build, man. Holy shit. That's a good build. This needs to stop, man. Hey guys, and welcome to a new video. Today is the day where our little Pathfinder is now playing with her cast on crit setup. You were waiting for it, don't you? So, in this regard, we are finally cast on crit with Indigon. And the journey is rough, man, I tell you. But I think, first of all, the most important thing here is I'm gonna remove the skin transfers now. Just because I'm getting spammed, over-spammed on the chat, on the videos. Like, yo, what is this item? What is that item? It's all skin transfers. I just want to show you guys that it's still the absolute same items that I used in the start of the league, more or less, or in my video 2 days ago. So we're just gonna pop this in a skin transfer, and now we have our good old tabula. So, two actually big changes, actually 3 changes. First of all, I did craft, yeah, I'm playing actually with a blue weapon. It is what it is. What should I do? So I bought an Exquisite Blade for 15 chaos, and I outspammed it for cast on crit, and I just crafted crit strike chance. Why do I not regal it? Just because I want to imprint that once the currency rolls in. And since this is not a physical based build, it's not like, yo, I need like hilarious amounts of damage on my weapon. This is just a trigger, right? I need a high crit strike chance, attack speed, all of that stuff to make my Exsanguinate proc. Next thing, I got myself an Indigon. Cost me 4 exalts, and the problem was, like, I roughly had 1 exalt when I started the stream. I did get the weapon early on, but then I was like, yo, this no damage whatsoever. In the same hand, I actually, how you say, reverted all my skill gems to level 1 again, as you might know from yesterday's video, right? So all of my gems are reverted to level 1. So I had, like, a cast on crit weapon without an Indigon with level 1 gems. So what I did was farming Blood Aqueducts just to level up this stuff, and it was hilarious, dude. I couldn't even do Blood Aqueducts at this point. And at some point, then I tried T1 maps, and it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. What I did next was something that throws me back quite a bit. I was actually, I remember in my map prep, I had like a bunch of like yellow tier maps and stuff like that. I was actually just converting everything that I can find, and made my 400 chaos out of that to buy an Indigon to now have a chance, a realistic chance, to make the character playable. And if you watch the VOD or if you have been on the stream, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. We had a hard time farming Blood Aqueducts. We had a hard time doing a T1 map. I had to get rid of all the yellow tier maps and stuff like that that I wanted to farm just to get my character rolling. At the moment, it sucks, but it works, okay? I'm gonna run a quick map here. I don't know, like any, what is fair? I don't even have a yellow tier map. You know, I'm just gonna run a T5 map now. I am actually at the moment farming the high tier maps. I have now Awakener level 3, so I've done that, but the damage is utterly garbage. I'm just saying how it is, right? There is a lot of things that I want to talk today about the build progression, so let's just, Ellie Reflect is not that good because of Vortex that I have on my auto walk here, right? So I thought, yo, I'm a pure fizz build, so it doesn't really matter at all, right? But I killed myself with Ellie Reflect just because I have Vortex on auto walk, and this hits and this actually kills me. So at the moment I'm running a 5-link setup, and if you're wondering why is my 5-link, why do I use a 5-link if I have a tabby, and that's because the weapon gives me cast on crit, so I could use the cast on crit support and have a 6-link basically, right? I'm running here increased crit because it helps me proccing, but I'm like probably 10% of the strength that I might actually get at some point. I'm going to talk about that later. I'm running Exsanguinate, Brutality, Cyclone, and Chain. So yes, I'm actually running this on a 3-link, because Chain is actually making my damage worse, but they clear a lot better. Cyclone is the trigger. Then I have actually only Exsanguinate with Brutality and the cost and increased crit. So I'm actually playing this on a 3-link, if you say it like that, okay? The way it works, I'm actually sustaining. So I'm using Petrified Blood with Precision at the moment. To get my hit chance, because I don't have hits cannot be evaded at the moment. Then I'm running Righteous Fire, and the Omeocam boot. So I'm degenning 27% plus Righteous Fire at the moment, but it works, you know? And this is how it looks like at the moment. I'm basically holding down 2 buttons, right? If I would just Cyclone and then use my Vortex, it would stop me from cycloning. If I do it the other way around, if I hold down left click and it spawns the Cyclones, the vortexes, and then I use Cyclone, then it keeps spawning. So why do I want to keep this spawning for Indigon? So I want to have the highest mana cost possible to actually generate the damage out of Indigon. I mean, yes, this is a low tier map and it looks kind of ridiculous. The clear speed, I'm like, the build looks very promising. It's utterly garbage at the moment, especially when it comes to high tier maps. But it performs. Like, it starts to work out. There is a lot of issues that I have with the build that is all fixable, okay? It just takes currency. For Legion Clear, for example, you just Cyclone in, and the Exsanguinate with the chain support is actually just chaining and just killing off everything, which is like super good. But as I said, we're not even like remotely close where we want to get, but we have the option to get there, and this is like the important thing. If I would equip the Indigon and be like, yo, I have no damage still, and I have no survivability, and don't have this and I don't have that, then it would be questionable if I would continue this route or not. But it looks promising. Like, the first steps are set. I do have my constant crit weapon. Yes, it's a blue weapon still. I do have my Indigon, and now it's about to sort out these issues that I have with the attack speed, with the accuracy, with the critical strike chance to maximize my proc rate, before I then actually take a look and how do I actually get the most amount of damage out of it. Boss damage, yeah, as soon as it actually stacks up, it's doing a lot of more damage, obviously. But in the other hand, don't forget, this is a T5 map. It's not really worth talking about it at the moment, right? But it's not one-shotting at the moment, and it's worse on T13 or T14 maps that I ran before. For the... how you say, the Deliriums, I'm actually skipping them. I do them right now just because for the showcase, and also because it's a lower tier map. But I also tried the Deliriums, or the Ultimatums. I'll probably throughout the entire league I will call them either Ritual or Delirium or Legion or anything, just not the way they're actually named, which is Ultimatum. But it works, you know. So I think at the moment my highest priority is just get to high tier. Like, literally skipping all the like skipping the majority of the content just to get going with the Watchstones and just to get going with the rest. And if you're wondering, yo, you have 1000 life, how are you not instantly dying? And this is because of my defensive layers. And please, let me just die. Let me just get one-shotted right away, just because karma, right? Nah, it's not that bad, man. It's kind of... I'm not having any cluster jewels yet whatsoever, and I'm actually like ridiculously tanky when it comes to that. These storm runes can kind of suck when you play Cyclone, because you're permanently cycloning around, and that might actually trigger them. But here we go. This is like clear. So as you see, it does work. The clearing is actually nuts, and I'm playing on a 3-link in this regard. So as I said, lots of improvement. But just for the map showcase, how the build actually is looking right now with the Indigon and with the custom crit setup. So it's basically hold on right click and Exsanguinate will just demolish the entire screen, and once we have the other stuff fixed, we will get further in the progress, I guess. So let's open these stack decks. Map. No doctor card. Yeah, unlucky, what should I say? Good, as I said, these are the 3 changes. The Voidbringer gloves, if you might wonder why Voidbringer gloves, it's because of the total mana cost of skills. Without those gloves, my Cyclone costs 4 mana. Yeah? And it's Indigon is like capped on like I think like 16,000 mana spent in the past 4 seconds, which means if I don't have the mana spending, I have a hard time getting the spell damage out of it. That's why I'm using Voidbringer, so my Cyclone has a base cost of 82 mana, as well as I'm having a couple nodes here with having increased mana cost, and that's why I'm also having the Vortex on my Outer Walk, just so I'm always spending more mana. So I'm actually spending mana, have my Vortex, and as you see, it's a hard time getting the Indigon stacked. And that's why I'm also using Arcane Cloak at the moment, because it soaks up quite a lot of my mana to help stacking. And at some point, you actually want to reach the point where your Cyclone is actually draining your so you know you're actually having the maximum potential, right? Which is not the case yet, and it's probably going to take a while until we actually get to this point, especially since I'm having Mana degen, I'm having Righteous Fire degens, and so on. So, I want to make an easy math thing here, right? If we take a look at the cast on crit setup, which says the internal cooldown of cast on crit, and this is why cast on crit is better than cast while channeling. I think cast while channeling can only proc like 3 times a second, while cast on crit can actually proc 6.66 seconds casts per second. If you have the right amount of hit chance, and if you have the right amount of attack speed and critical strike chance, and so on. This is the current version. I personally think I spawn maybe 2 exsanguinates per second, so I can like spawn 3 times more once I get my stats straight. So, with Cyclone, I think I do have around about 8 attacks per second with the right setup, with the right gear, and with like attack speed, multi-modded weapon, something like that. I should be able to get around, I would say, 10 to 12 attacks per second. And once I have hits cannot be evaded, I'm having 100% hit chance as well, right? So, let's say hits can't be evaded, which basically gives me, yeah, 100% hit chance. And that means if I know I can only proc it 6.66 maximum, like let's say internal cooldown and whatnot, let's say 6 times per second, and I'm attacking 12 times per second, that only means I only need an effective 50% crit strike chance to get at my cap, because I have 12 attacks per second, and I only can maximum crit or proc the cast on crit like 6 times, right? And that means 50% hit chance. And this is the issue that I have right now. At the moment, I think I'm on like roughly 8 attacks per second. I am currently on somewhere at 90% hit chance, and my critical strike chance is currently, I think, like 40%. That means, let me check here, or 88% over here. My critical strike chance is 21%, but I have a diamond flask, so the critical strike chance is lucky, which is basically twice, right? So this is my current stats. I'm not having the hit chance, I don't have the attack speed, I don't have the critical strike chance, and these things here will result in a very, very inconsistent and low proc rate. That means I currently do only, yeah, a tiny, like a third of my actual proc rate. And now when we talk about the damage, as I said, you probably can ramp up to like, I think 16,000 mana in the past 4 seconds to reach the 2,000% spell damage from Indigon. At the moment, with my 3,000 mana here and having the mana flask up and ramping here, I do actually think that I might spend, this is pure speculations, right? I do think that I spend round about maybe, let's say 2,000 mana in the past 4, let's say 3,000. That means that I can ramp up a lot more. So I probably get like 350% spell damage out of my Indigon. So I know that I can triple my proc rate, and I also know that I can get like 8 times more base damage from my Indigon, right? And this is what I mean with, it looks good, okay? It's kind of trash at the moment, but I know the values and I know how it can look like once the stats are fixed. And that's why I'm having an issue. And this is the problem that I currently try to solve at the moment. Since I'm not having the currency to multi-mod my weapon, I'm actually using a precision. Precision has the good taste, if I find it actually, precision has the good taste that it's not a percentage reservation, okay? It's a flat reservation. And if you have over 3,000 mana, like reserving 150 mana, right? That's like literally nothing, right? So that's why it's fine to actually go with a 21 precision. and just get it this way, right? So if I activate precision, I'm actually on 98%. The next thing is, at the moment, I do have a lot of like accuracy nodes on my tree. So as think about it, it's just a transition. Once I have hits cannot be evaded, I'm saving 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 kill points that I can then invest into more mana, into more damage, and so on. The next thing is Petrified Blood. I do want to have it enlightened. I think PUB wise, I should be at 51% mana reservation on my Petrified Blood. That means I have a higher life pool. And yes, I only have 1000 life, and I'm running the Anomalous Petrified Blood, which is another 5% damage loss. The way it works, I get a damage hit from like 1000 damage. Then 550 damage I get instantly, but the other 450 damage is taken over 4 seconds, and running agnostic means I can almost ignore that fact, right? And that's why I want to have this percentage as high as possible. And this actually, with Mind Over Matter, agnostic, Petrified Blood, I'm having 1k life and I can run T13 maps already. And this is without my cluster jewels. I only have here the Spy Concoction and Enduring Compose, so I get endurance charges. I don't have a single liquid inspiration yet, so you know there is like hundreds of improvements, and the problem is I have no idea where to start at the moment. While having a pretty low budget, since I invested everything into the Indigon, I'm currently having 60 chaos, no Exalt drops today. But I think at the moment I'm not so sure what is the next step to do. I think it might be maybe Grand Spectrums 3 times, but then I'm like not res capped anymore because of my life mana resistance jewels, right? Grand Spectrum would be, I think, 35% increased critical strike chance per Grand Spectrum, or 25. That would give a lot of damage. Then a Flask, maybe like Cinder Swallow with an increased critical strike chance enchant would be, or craft better said, would be an option. Then checking the other items like the bell, the ring, like all these things, the chest. For example, since I have my Exsanguinate set up here in my weapon, I currently run a cast damage taking Mortal Call, an Ice Golem that I could self-cast, Leap Slam, Faster Attacks, Fortify. So I just popped in any kind of like things, and this chest is completely useless. It doesn't even give me stats. So I could buy like a super cheap Exploit chest because I don't need the links, for example, right? Here I have like Vortex, Arcane Surge, Hex Touch, and Vulnerability. Since I don't have an Awakened Hex Touch, I actually skipped out the Punishment as well. So, as I said, lots of improvements. I'm still trying to figure out what's the best way to go next. But it is working. At the moment, I can farm. I can't even farm high tiers. It's a little bit low on DPS, but for some reason, I'm actually tanky with my 1000 life. But I'm just saying, the future is looking bright. The current path of building link is in the description below. And yeah, more testing, and maybe tomorrow we have found another way to actually improve the build. Alright guys, thanks for tuning in, thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.